Europe, to the colonizer who decided that dark skin is inferior, to beauty pageants, and to the algorithm that today has to filter your imperfections before you actually post. These are discussions that we're going to be having later in the bulletin, and our guests are already here. We are discussing crown costs. My name is Wakio Mzenge. Our sign language interpreter is Rhoda Nyamai. TV47 Prime starts now. 8 students from Utumishi Girls Senior School in Gilgil, Nakuru County have been arrested in connection with a deadly arson attack that left 16 dead and 79 others injured. The incident has now taken a new turn after investigators reveal that warning signs were allegedly ignored before the tragedy struck. As Samira Mohammed reports, Education CS Julius Ogamba says the incident exposes systemic failures in school safety oversight and emergency preparedness.
The shocking arson attack at Utumishi Girls Senior School in Gilgil, Nakuru County has left many grappling with grief and unanswered questions. As investigators delve into the circumstances surrounding the incident, 8 learners have been arrested in connection with Thursday's arson attack, which left 16 students dead and 79 others injured.
Preliminary investigations have established the following. Number 1, the tragic fire was an act of arson. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations is currently holding and questioning 8 learners who are persons of interest in this investigation.
Kupitia uchunguzi imepatikana kwamba wanafunzi 8 wanakiziwa kwamba walihusika na kuchoma hiyo dormitory.
According to authorities, the 8 students suspected of involvement in orchestrating the arson are now at the center of a thorough investigation and are expected to be presented in court on Tuesday morning.
The investigation will ascertain the individual roles in the planning and execution of this heinous act. Those found culpable will be charged in accordance with the provisions of the Penal Code and other relevant laws.
Preliminary findings also point to breaches of safety requirements at the school, including dormitories overcrowding and a situation in which one exit door was locked, contrary to basic safety standards under the school safety manual and basic education regulations.
The school did not adhere to the safety requirements as stipulated in the school safety manual and the basic education regulations. In particular, there was congestion in the dormitory and one exit door was locked contrary to the prescribed safety requirements.
Investigations have also revealed that 2 teachers at the institution had been informed of unplanned unrest by a section of Form 3 learners, but did not take appropriate action before the arson, despite having prior warning.
2 teachers were informed of this planned unrest by a section of Form 3 learners. However, these teachers did not take appropriate action before the arson, despite having been informed.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto has signed the National Disaster Risk Management Bill into law following the tragic fire at Utumishi Girls that claimed 16 lives and left 79 others injured. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Samira Mohammed, for that report. Meanwhile, the Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Union is urging the government to urgently reinforce safety measures in schools following the deadly fire at Utumishi Girls High School in Gilgil, Nakuru County, which claimed 16 lives and left dozens others injured and hospitalized. The union says the tragedy has exposed serious gaps in school emergency preparedness, calling for the immediate deployment of public health officers to all learning institutions to conduct safety audits. It is also urging strict enforcement of health and safety regulations in schools, warning that vulnerabilities in school infrastructure could pose greater risks during the period of heightened health alerts, including Ebola concerns.
The Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union, KEPU, and the Association of Public Health Officers Kenya express its deepest and most profound condolence to the parents, families, teachers, and the entire community of Tumishi Girls Academy Senior School in Gilgil, Nakuru County.
As public health professionals, we are very clear in our mind. People have been asking what is the position of the public health officers in this country. And it must be very categorically clear that it is not about anything, it's not about medical, it's about public health. We need to make sure that our population are actually very safe. We need to make sure that our people, our schools are actually very safe to be able to ensure that, to assure that learning is actually taking place.
The government has a constitutional right to protect the lives of the public, and I will also add that the devolution system was not meant to bring confusion.
We are strongly reiterating and saying there is no option rather than embrace preventive health. We are not going to sit back and watch our communities suffer over things that we can prevent. So for this reason, we urge the Ministry of Health, embrace preventive health.
And the High Court has temporarily halted the proposed establishment of an Ebola quarantine facility, even as the government continues engagements with the United States over a multi-billion shilling support package to strengthen Kenya's Ebola response system. The move comes amid growing public opposition over safety and transparency concerns.
The High Court has temporarily stopped the government from establishing an Ebola quarantine facility in Kenya for Americans or other foreign nationals. The order follows a petition filed by Katiba Institute and is set for mention on the 2nd of June.
How dare them entertain the idea that they can bring Ebola-affected people to Kenya to protect America but endanger the Kenyan population.
This as President William Ruto held talks with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio to discuss the ongoing Ebola outbreak and U.S.-Kenya coordination on public health response efforts. Additionally, the United States government has committed 1.7 billion Kenya shillings toward Kenya's Ebola preparedness efforts.
We can collaboratively work with the international community to protect Kenya, but also to be a responsible member of the international community.
On its part, the Africa Center for Disease Control has maintained that it is not so familiar with this kind of policy of bringing people from everywhere to quarantine them in a specific country.
If that one must be taken as decision, I will provide my recommendations to the Kenyan government.
As tension rises over the proposed Ebola quarantine facility at the Nanyuki Air Base in Laikipia County, Nanyuki residents have strongly opposed the move, citing public health concerns, further threatening to hold demonstrations if the government fails to stop the move.
Laikipia Air Base, it's just one of the military bases in Kenya. Wangeenda kwingine, Nairobi, kule Embakasi, lakini zaidi bona Kenya.
Laikipia East sio dump site ya magonjwa. Laikipia East hatufai kuletewa quarantine ya Ebola, tunafaa kuletewa laboratory.
Serikali ilikuwa inafaa at least iulize, ifanye public participation, ndio iulize wananchi wa Laikipia kama wako tayari kuhost. Because hiyo ndio sheria na hiyo ndio inafaa kufuatwa.
Meanwhile, Uganda has confirmed 2 new Ebola cases in Kampala, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 9. According to Uganda's Ministry of Health, both new cases are of Congolese nationals. The World Health Organization Director General, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, is in DRC to assess the ongoing Ebola outbreak, with 105 cases confirmed and over 900 suspected cases since 15th of May 2026. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, let's move to Wajir County, where the Education Thematic Week continued into its second day, with stakeholders emphasizing the need to position education and skills development as the foundation of Kenya's socio-economic transformation agenda.
For the second day, stakeholders in the education sector converged at Wakio Primary School for high-level discussions on how education can become the cornerstone of Kenya's transformation.
I would like to give you half a minute.
The discussions focused on empowering learners through skill development, especially through technical and vocational education and training, TVET.
Today was an intense discussion on the opportunities that are presented by skills.
We are now gone as far as having practical technology, where our friend Dennis has even been able to appreciate the robots, and there is much, much more that is available within our space.
PS TVET Esther Moria noting that Kenya has produced more than 9,500 qualified workers who have secured jobs abroad. She said the focus has now shifted from training for outcomes to training for quality output.
The TVET space trains people who are the doers.
Stakeholders also emphasized the need for university education and TVET programs to complement each other in order to equip learners with both practical and academic skills.
We are not looking back, both in as far as recruitment is concerned, improvement of infrastructure is concerned, and the training of the young people.
What comes out of one level, basic, must be good enough for the next level, whether it's TVET or university, so that together, working closely, hand in hand, we produce the manpower that this country needs and globally.
The discussions on the thematic week are expected to continue tomorrow, with stakeholders now expected to discuss how to shape the future through education, innovation and opportunity. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 at Wakio Primary School in Wajir County.
Sheila Chelangat in Wajir County. Thank you so much. President William Ruto has met representatives of the Kenyan diaspora from 40 countries at State House, Nairobi, in a high-level engagement focused on job creation, investment, and strengthening linkages between Kenyans abroad and the country's development agenda. The president commended the diaspora for serving as strong ambassadors of Kenya, praising their consistency, reliability, and global reputation. He noted that government reforms have made it easier for Kenyans abroad to invest back home through the Affordable Housing Program and the Boma Yangu platform, while also facilitating access to medical insurance through the Social Health Authority. He added that the government has also intensified labor export programs to expand overseas employment opportunities.
And we are expanding that. First, let me commend you for putting your best foot forward in different parts of the world. You have kept our Kenyan flag flying very high. And I will tell you that because I meet many people across the world, I meet professionals, I meet people who run companies, I meet people who run organizations, and the consistent report that I get about the people of Kenya is that they are the best workforce anywhere in the world. And that makes me really proud.
The Kimani Kuria-led Finance Committee has retired to finalize its report after concluding public hearings on the Finance Bill 2026, with lawmakers now tasked with balancing tax reforms against the rising cost of living pressures. The final day of submissions saw stakeholders push for major relief measures.
Organization and
the National Assembly's Finance Committee has issued what it says is a clarification on misinformation regarding the proposed increase in excise duty on mobile phones from 10% to 25% in the Finance Bill 2026. Finance Committee Chair Kimani Kuria noted that the provision will not ultimately raise the cost of imported mobile phones. This clarification came after stakeholders who appeared before the committee on Friday urged members of parliament to delete the provision.
As a law is, as a bill provides for now, if it passes as it is,
it's going to be cheaper. Smartphones, as you're calling them, important phones, shall be cheaper.
The church stresses that the most sustainable source of government revenue is public trust. Citizens are more willing to comply with taxation when they are fair, when they see fairness.
Meanwhile, Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has urged Parliament to adopt urgent tax and levy reforms aimed at reducing fuel prices.
Lowering VAT and tax exempting fuel products, which is a domain of this committee, and lowering levies, which is a domain of this committee. If we do that and we pass it in Parliament, the following day, super petrol prices will be 187 shillings in Kenya.
However, his proposal to move fuel from the current 8% VAT to VAT-exempt status was challenged by the committee chair, who argued that such a move could instead make fuel more expensive.
Particularly,
the Kimani Kuria-led committee will now retire to draft a report with recommendations, which will be tabled before the National Assembly. Kenyans are now watching closely to see whether the proposals will be reflected in the final report. Stanley Nyeringita, TV47.
A day after the deadly fire at Utumishi Girls Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County, grief has given way to confusion and desperation as parents continue to search for answers about the fate of their daughters. Some families are still uncertain whether their children are safe, injured, or among the dead. Parents have also lamented the emotional and physical burden of traveling between the school and the Naivasha Sub-County Referral Hospital mortuary, more than 30 kilometers apart, to provide DNA samples for identification of the charred remains. Mike Chalo with more details on this story.
You don't care about us, care about our children.
For some parents, it was yet another painful and agonizing day at Utumishi Girls Academy, as many broke down in grief, uncertain about their whereabouts of their children and unable to get clear information from the authorities. Even as parents whose daughters are among the students being held for questioning to help establish the cause of the fire, were left desperately seeking updates on the condition and whereabouts of their daughters.
Wamekuja wakasoma majina, wakatambiwa tukue katika vikundi vitatu. One group ni ya wale watoto wao wamezuiliwa hapa so that they can assist in investigation. The second group ni ya wale already wanajua watoto wao wamewaacha. Kikundi cha tatu ni wale hawajui mahali watoto wao wako.
Hadi saa hizi sijajua kwenye sisi yangu ako, na tumekuja hapa kwa shule na wamekataa tuingie. Sasa kwa saa hizi sijui sisi yangu kama ako uhai ama yuko uhai.
Meanwhile, parents who had traveled to Naivasha Funeral Home to identify bodies were further distressed after being directed back to Utumishi Girls Academy to provide DNA samples required for the identification process.
Kama program ilichange kidogo, tukaambiwa DNA iwezi fanyika huko, inapaswa tufanyiwe hapa kwa shule. So ikabidi niendelee na safari yangu, nikuja mpaka hapa na ndio mahali tumefanyiwa DNA.
One Muslim family is now being forced to suspend traditional Islamic burial rites as its members wait for up to 4 days for DNA results to positively identify the body of their daughter.
Sisi Waislamu hatuwezi ongojea hivyo. Na sijui ni tunataka tuharakishiwe ndio tupate hiyo mwili.
Hiyo siku ama 6 ni mzito sana kwetu. Lakini pia hiyo haimaanishi tuvunje utaratibu na mikakati ya serikali.
For the second consecutive day, families that lost their children in this school have continued to endure pain and uncertainty as they are now forced to wait for 4 extra days for the DNA results to help identify the bodies of their loved ones. Mike Chalo, TV47, Gilgil Sub-County.
Thank you, Mike Chalo from Gilgil, for keeping us up to speed with the happenings on the ground. Moving on, Cooperative Bank has been named SME Bank of the Year in Africa at the 2026 African Bankers Awards held in Brazzaville, Congo, in recognition of its strong performance in small and medium enterprise financing and economic empowerment across the region. The awards, organized by African Banker Magazine and IC Events under the African Development Bank, recognized excellence and innovation in the continent's financial sector. Cooperative Bank was honored for its strategic focus on SMEs, which the bank says remain the backbone of job creation and inclusive growth. Group Managing Director Gideon Mwiruki said the award validates the bank's long-standing commitment to supporting entrepreneurs across East Africa. Meanwhile, Consolidated Bank has recorded a strong financial reversal in the first quarter of 2026, posting a profit before tax of 92.5 million shillings after recording a loss of 12 million shillings in the same period last year, signaling a notable turnaround in performance. The bank says the improved performance was supported by growth in customer deposits, expansion in government securities holdings, and stronger net interest income. Total assets rose to 20 billion shillings, while customer deposits increased to 12.7 billion shillings, reflecting improved confidence in the institution. Acting CEO Dr. Dominic Murage says the results are a direct outcome of the bank's transformation agenda, with a strategic focus on deepening support for SMEs and MSMEs. Now let's move to sporting matters. Kenya's national under-17 women's team, the Junior Starlets, has intensified preparations ahead of their second-round FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualification clash against Uganda tomorrow. The first leg was played in Kampala, where the two teams settled for a 1-1 draw. Kenya is targeting a return to the global stage for the second time in 3 years after making history with their debut appearance at the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in the Dominican Republic. The aggregate winner will advance to the third and final qualification round. Remember, the match will be aired live on TV47 from 3 p.m. East African time, the home of Untold Stories.
90 minutes ndo zitaamua, but kujituma na tutajituma. Na mafans tunawaambia waje tu kwa wingi kutusupport na tutawapea kile mnataka. Mistake tulifanya tumesha correct, tumefanya na coach na tutazi apply kesho kwa game yetu.
Nashukuru God again ametupea chance na game ya kesho tuko ready, tumetrain poa sana. Kwa mafans hiyo support tutaitaka kwa sana juu tuko home pia, na tunahakikishia kuwa we'll do our very best na tutoke na point home.
Players are mentally prepared because playing at home for them it's an advantage, and also playing with their home fans, with the support from the home fans, I think so much better for them, unlike playing away. So most of them mentally, they are prepared, they are charged to give a good performance tomorrow. Our main goal remains qualifying for the World Cup, but we are taking it one game at a time. So winning each and every game matters. And when we win each and every game, it means we have a better chance in qualifying for the 2026 World Cup.
And the Nairobi United End of Season Awards Gala lit up the night in glamour as midfield maestro Enoch Machaka emerged as the biggest winner, clinching the coveted Player of the Season award ahead of teammates Michael Karamor, Leslie Owino and Duncan Omala. The star midfielder enjoyed a remarkable debut campaign for the Nai Boys, scoring 5 goals and providing 6 assists across all competitions, with one match still left before the season concludes. Young forward Duncan Omala scooped both the Young Player of the Season and Golden Boot awards after tallying 10 goals and 7 assists, while Kevin Wanganya was voted Fans Player of the Season and Best Signing, following an impressive mid-season arrival. Kefa Wanjala and the Most Disciplined Player award, as Mustafa Kiza claimed the Goal of the Season accolade for his stunning strike against Shabana FC in the Sport Pesa League.
At least ile hard work yote ya season naona ndio hii shalipa, so na feel poa sana.
Vijana wameweza kujituma, tuko katika namba 5, kuna uwezekano wa kumaliza namba 4 kwa mechi ambayo tubakisha. Kwa hiyo inamaanisha kwamba tutakuwa na kazi katika msimu unaofuata, kwa sababu mwenye klabu anataka kuona kwamba klabu imeweza kupata ushindi wa kuinua kikombe la ligi. Kwa hivyo inamaanisha kwamba msimu ujao utakuwa na makali wake tofauti kabisa.
Kulikuwa na challenges, but out of those challenges tuliweza kujituma, na the club is number 5 with 1 game to spare. So being our first season, I think it's a good position for us.
And on international sports, Arsenal will face Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Champions League final on Saturday at the Puskás Arena in Budapest, Hungary. The final will kick off at 7 p.m. Kenyan time, with Arsenal chasing their first ever Champions League title in only their 2nd final appearance. PSG, who won the title last season, are targeting another European crown after eliminating Arsenal in last season's semi-finals. The Gunners will miss defender Ben White through injury, while PSG have been boosted by the return of Achraf Hakimi and Ousmane Dembele to training ahead of the decisive clash. And on that sporty note, we are going to take a short break, and our guests are already here. Hello, guys.
Hi.
We're having a very intricate conversation on who gets to choose what beauty really means? That's on the other side of the break. Right now, we take a short break, and from our sign language interpreter, Rhoda Nyamai, I'm sure she's going to say good night.